Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamualaikum. Ji ayanu. Pakhair agale. Ni hao. Chunashubbe. Washmale. Ohai gozaimasu. Guten Morgen. Hola. Bonjour. Privyet. Kaifa hal? Halishuma chatore. Ahlan wa sahlan. Marhaba. Buna. Mucho. Gracias. Swabia. Balli kare. Hosh galden. And thank you very much, everybody, for joining us to kind of watch our program early in the morning. I think we highly want to credit you for that as well, because you've been doing it for a longer period of time. But we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your day with us. First things first. Hello, Hajra. How are you doing today?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for asking me. I'm doing good. How are you?
Well, I think so far so good.
Right.
You remembered what I said just last time as well. But for everybody out there, obviously, ladies and gentlemen, you know, when we are actually dealing with our day-to-day affairs, we really need to be on time. We need to trick our brain at times as well.
Right.
And we make sure that, you know, that we kind of achieve, and we make sure that we do not procrastinate. But God forbid, if we are, that's the question which I'm going to pose to my wonderful colleague over here, that God forbid if somebody is in a habit of procrastinating or are just being lazy and they know that they have stuff to do, what do you think they should do?
I think when you're talking about procrastination, you're mentioning me, and that is very ironical because I procrastinate a lot.
Really?
But yes. But when it comes to my professional goals, I make sure that I achieve them, right? And I do strive for them.
Wow.
And speaking of which, you know, I was reading Shahzad.
But before we move on to the reading part, I knew that you would certainly share, you know, what you were reading the latest as well.
Okay.
But I want to know, so, you know, because you said that, you know, that you do not procrastinate when it comes down to your professional goals.
Yes.
So when do you actually procrastinate? You know, what is it about?
So when I have to do some, you know, domestic chores, stuff like that, I procrastinate a lot, you know. So that's the...
No, but I want like real examples. For example, you know, I'm supposed to take my mother to the market and I'll be like, hey, you know what, mom, you know, probably we'll go an hour later.
Okay, so my mother often asks me to do the dusting. I hate the dusting part of the work. You know, I tell her, you know, make me wash the dishes, or, you know, I can sweep the floor, stuff like that, but don't ask me to do dusting. And, you know, she, I think, deliberately asked me to do that, and I don't do that. You know, I procrastinate.
And there's no other sibling who can actually do that, or you can pass down to another sibling?
So what happens is that I'm a morning person, right? So I wake up early in the morning, and then I do my breakfast, and, you know, then I'm usually on my laptop reading something. So my mom thinks that if I'm on the laptop, I'm, you know, just, you know, procrastinating or doing some yearly work. So she asked me, you know, I am doing this sweeping and, you know, cleaning the entire floor and stuff like that. So you need to compliment me by dusting, you know. And I said, why do you ask me, you know? So my younger sister, she sleeps a lot, you know, she wakes up at around, you know, 2 in the noon, stuff like that, right?
Lucky
and
you.
yes, and she gets away with a lot of work because she does not wake up early. And I you know, often think that, you know, this is, I think, sort of my saza for, you know, waking up early in the morning.
So did you ever come across a situation where it was a holiday and you woke up early in the morning, you were like, okay, you know, let's just stay in the bed, otherwise I'll have to do a lot of chores?
You know, once I wake up, you know, so I can't stay in the bed for long, you know, right? Because I do feel, you know, that, you know, what's the point of, you know, just laying there? So get up, you know, get prepared.
I think that exactly is the case with me as well, and it's because of the fact that as soon as I wake up, you know, the first thing I want is my breakfast.
Yes.
Because I fantasize about my breakfast, you know, the previous night as well. I'm like, okay, you know, Subha, I'm going to get up and I'll be having this breakfast as well. And it feels wonderful. So everybody who's out there, please make sure that you know, take your breakfast every single day. And it is the most important meal of your day. Remember that as well.
Course.
But very quickly, coming back to where you wanted to talk about reading and everything, and we were talking about procrastination. So imagine, you know, when I procrastinate, so I procrastinate when I really need to sleep, and then there are people who are actually calling out my name and be like, you know, we have to go over there. You know, we decided it earlier. You know, why can't you just, why is it always your way? And I'm like, yeah, when is it my way? You know, I just want to sleep for another hour or 2 hours.
So you do feel that your social life is sometimes a nuisance to your
exactly.
healthy
And then on number 2, when I go to the gym, you know, so I obviously have to push myself that, okay, you know, I really need to start working out.
Right.
So what I'll do is that I'll just sit down in the restaurant area for another 25 and 30 minutes and be like, yaar, acha bhi karta hu, abhi karta hu. So that's how it is. But ladies and gentlemen, eventually towards the end of the day, if you know that you fulfill your goals, or, you know, for whatever was required to fulfill your goal, I think that's a brilliant job as well. And please make sure that you continue to do so. Coming back to where you wanted to share something about reading.
Right. So, you know, I came across this news, you know, where the Russian, the chief of the Russian space agency said that there are actually extraterrestrial life there's a presence of them, and they're more intelligent form of the life,
Really?
especially than the humanity. Yes, that's very interesting, because the concept of aliens have penetrated into our pop culture. There are lots of movies, series, fictions that that have indulged into that concept, and they're making many shows on it. And they also said that just like we study bacteria, aliens might be studying us like bacteria, and they want to stay unnoticed for that. And he says that there are a lot of sightings of UFOs. There was actually there was an incident where PIA, do you remember that story where
Yeah.
PIA pilot actually
Yeah.
saw that, and it went viral out of the way. And he also contacted NASA, and the NASA gave the same sort of information to him that yes, there are a lot of sightings of UFOs. So that is actually very scary, and it's also very interesting because there was.
It's not scary. You know what? If they're nicer people, I don't know whether how you're going to refer to it, but unfortunately, if you think that that somebody from Pakistan would have done that research, I think we would have come down to Oji jinn aa gaye, or probably jadoo ho gaya. There's some things like that.
Maybe, yes.
Every society has got a very different vision of how things are or things will probably be in near future as well. But ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time that we kind of continue with the top stories. Well,
Right.
I mean, aliens, stay where you are. If you're watching us on your television screens, if you have one, or however you're watching us, hey, you know what? We are happy over here on our planet. You stay happy on your planet as well. Until the time you decide that we're going to live peacefully, please do not come over here, all right? And we're not going to bug you. But now let's come down to what top stories we have for you from all over the world, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
First things first, I think we need to talk about these special economic zones.
Right.
Shall we?
Of course.
All right,
of course.
let's get started then. All right,
Of course.
here we
So,
go.
our Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has said that the government was committed to completing special economic zones at the earliest to ensure development and prosperity in the country.
Yeah.
And also, he said during his visit to Rashakai Special Economic Zone, I think you're a fan of Rashakai, right?
Yeah, I am.
Right.
I get my suit clothing from
Yes,
there.
yes.
Very cheap.
Right. The Prime Minister said all the problems and hurdles in the smooth execution of SEZs would be addressed on a priority basis.
Yep.
And he also said that focusing on establishing SEZ across the country would boost industrialization and exports and generate employment. And I think we need it most, right?
Exactly. We do.
The kind of the economic environment that is brewing up. And he also added that solution to Pakistan's economic problems was massive industrialization and diversifying the export base. He said massive economic activity in the country would create employment, encourage exports, and stimulate import substitution. The Prime Minister said 9 SEZs has been planned to be developed in Pakistan, aimed at promoting industrial infrastructure and technology transfer. Shehbaz Sharif has this vision, where he wants to massively industrialize Pakistan. And I think that this is the answer to all of our ills, because we definitely need to be that one country. And he also said that China had switched to high-tech industrial projects and invited Chinese companies to invest in Pakistan. And Chinese experts in technology and the cheap labor of Pakistan could act in a balance to benefit both the sides.
Well, and that is the way forward. Obviously, Pakistan needs to produce something in order to kind of make sure that we do not land in to deficits as well. Because
Right,
every time we do have an export deficit over here in the country, and we certainly, that's the vision which we really need to move in, and or
Right.
the direction we need to move in. We need to
Right.
industrialize. We need to make sure that we have our own products as well. And I most of the time have been talking about it. Imagine, so we grow wheat. So if there's a truck
Right.
full of wheat, we give it to them, and they give us one single iPhone back. So I don't think that it's going to work for a longer period of time. And certainly, yes, obviously we do have more updates, but before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, in the world of sports, we do make sure that we share, we support, and we promote our local artists, or probably the players themselves or the athletes themselves.
Right.
And it's because of the fact that if you're not going to do so, if you're not going to take the responsibility, who will? Because all of these people are not sponsored by the government, but at times they are representing Pakistan, that too out of their own pockets, working day in, day out, making sure that they're going to progress and bring back pride and good name to Pakistan, which is why, so
And I also think, Shehzad, I'm sorry I'm cutting you,
No
that,
problem.
the people who are in the sports, they are the soft power of the country,
True.
and especially in the 21st century, hard power is always not the answer towards the,
True.
the image or the strength that you are projecting of your country. Soft power counts a lot, right? And especially for the country like Pakistan, I think we need a lot of, good representation of the people who are especially in the, and I think we are not alien to this field, right? We have lots of big names who have come across this sporting industry, right?
Exactly. Thank you very much for saying that, because even if they are soft power, ladies and gentlemen, inside the ring, they are hard power as well. But imagine, ladies and gentlemen, so this wonderful daughter of the soil actually went on to make sure that she's going to take on to the Australian counterpart, which she did. She won unanimously as well. We're very lucky that we've been joined by mixed martial art artist Anita Kareem. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you? Good morning. And alongside Anita Kareem, we're lucky to have been joined by another MMA artist, ladies and gentlemen. He happens to be Mr. Alumi Kareem Shaheen as well. Assalamu alaikum to both of you. You guys are still in Thailand. Congratulations in the first place. Pakistanis are going crazy about the victory. Anita has been able to kind of conceal for herself and for the entire country. How are you guys doing?
Assalamu alaikum, Zal bhai. Thank you so much for having us on the show. Alhamdulillah, we got the victory. Yes, we got the job done. We are feeling amazing. This was one of the toughest fights of Anita's career, and we got it done in such a spectacular fashion. So we are feeling amazing.
I think it's wonderful, and it's commendable for the kind of services you've rendered for your country, and you always manage to bring back some positive image for the country as well. And wherever you go, you represent Pakistan in a very befitting manner. And I think this is something which is required as well. Anita obviously happens to be one of the brand ambassadors for women empowerment wherever we may probably go, and it talks about inclusive society. But Alumi, you yourself are a mixed martial artist as well, and you've been fighting, for a longer period of time. You've brought back a lot of belts, a lot of titles. Your journey wasn't that simple. So how did you actually think that, okay, now I'm going to coach my sister and make her the artist I am myself?
She basically opted for this by herself. She wanted to become what she has become. She opted for this, and she chose this path. All we had to do was just guide her and help her the way we help any other fighter. And she paved her way, and she has been training with the boys. She's been training with all the guys at Team Fight Fortress, and here she's been training with world champions in Thailand. So, I mean, everything that she's done, all credit goes to her. All we had to do was just show her the direction and just give her a little push, and she did everything by herself.
Well, because, when I saw the fight, right at the beginning of the first round, she actually threw so many punches on her Australian counterpart that she started to bleed as well. I mean, I was like, hey, you know what? We really need to maintain our safe distance. And thank God that you guys are in Thailand too as well.
Right.
But Alumi, when we talk about training, when we talk about going out to different places, obviously, and I've mentioned this before as well, that you guys truly deserve a lot of appreciation because you've been doing it out of your own pockets, bringing back good name to Pakistan. It might get difficult at times, yeah, and I've seen your journey, how you've built a gym, how you make sure that you promote MMA over here within Pakistan, and then you go out to different places. How has it been? When we talk about Anita's this wonderful fight as well, and it happened at a very iconic stadium too as well. Please tell us a little detail about, or share the details about the fight.
Right. So this is Anita is probably like the first Pakistani. Even before me, she fought at the prestigious Lumpini Stadium, which is called the Mecca of Muay Thai. People from all around the world want to compete at this stadium, and Anita had the chance to compete here for the second time, and she, alhamdulillah, won the fight. It's not as easy, but you've seen how the journey has been. We have to manage a lot of, for example, finances, to travel, to logistics, and everything. But Team Fairtex, we're signed here with Team Fairtex, and they were kind enough to take care of us, of a lot of things for us. Take care of our training, our accommodation, and then help us get some fights as well. But at the same time, Anita fought with a torn meniscus and a torn MCL. She fought with a broken toe. So all these expenses that, when we have to, fight, it comes with a cost, and the cost that we have to cover afterward, that is really pricey, and that's where we need help of, you can say, sponsors and help of companies that would help us get better physically, or help us contribute in our supplementation or in anything that that could help us grow physically better. So it's been a roller coaster ride, but alhamdulillah, we're pushing through, and inshallah we'll do great.
Right. So, since boxing requires a lot of concentration to the point that, you have to black out a lot of things in that sense, and you have to align your thoughts in one particular direction. So I really wanted to ask you this question, especially we're living in the age of social media where our concentration levels are really low. Do you think it's a very difficult feat to achieve?
Or your concentration levels, probably.
Oh, no, I think it's a glue. No.
All right,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, I think there has been a technical
Some
difficulty.
right.
Yes, obviously, since they are in Thailand, there might be issues of connectivity. We'll try to
Right.
get them back as well because we really wanted to have a word with Anita. But
Right.
now I want to come back to
Right.
the world of sports once again because
Right.
imagine, ladies and gentlemen, that Mr. Imamullah is now ranked on #2 in one-day
Wow.
international rankings. And I
Wow.
just cannot keep calm because he's actually left behind Virat Kohli as well. And on #1, when it's Babar Azam, I think we really need to be very happy as well. And certainly as a cricket fan, I just could not keep my calm as well because Imam, ladies and gentlemen, as per the ratings, he's got 815 points. I think that's what it is. We're sharing the visuals too as well. And Babar Azam is way ahead. It will take him a little time, but I guess one day probably we will see Imam Ulaq on #1 as well. Imagine that he has made 7 consecutive half centuries.
Oh, wow.
And not just that, if he continues to do so, he's actually going to break the record of Javed Miandad Sahab, who's got 9 consecutive half centuries as well.
That's impressive.
Not just that, and imagine, so we haven't played a lot of one-day international since the World Cup 2019, and imagine that, coming up with such amazing records, it's just amazing. And finally, alhamdulillah, that the top order is sorted, but the middle order might have a lot of issues because in the last 17 one-day internationals, we have tested different 8 players, and none of them has actually been on the spot too as well. And in addition to that, I would like to mention over here that Mohammad Rizwan, ladies and gentlemen, who's actually an opener in the T20 format, is on #2 in the ICC men's T20 ranking. When we talk about the test rankings, ladies and gentlemen, Shaheen Shafrizi happens to be on #4 in the bowling rankings as well.
Wow.
So I mean, imagine that, in all different formats, Pakistani cricketers have been doing a wonderful job. And, when we talk about PSL is such a bigger brand now. Now we've got the Junior League coming out. So I believe, that the future of Pakistani cricket is very promising.
Okay, so Shahzad, I really wanted to ask you this question since you like to closely associate with yourself with the sports of cricket, right? And
Not
you
only
also,
cricket, but I like polo too as well. I like
Right,
swimming
right.
too, basketball.
but I think you have
Yes.
more information about the cricket.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to a lot of money is being poured into this sports,
True,
right?
true.
Do you feel that, a lot of money is sometimes a nuisance because it somehow quashes the soul or the spirit of the sporting event, or it does it, flourish the sport in that sense?
It does. When we talk about cricket over here in the country, it's just because of the money we get from ICC that, we are
Okay.
able to play cricket. Otherwise, you see in the country, unfortunately, there's sports federation and associations and there's so many different things out there. But imagine that, none of them survived. So
Okay.
imagine the only thing which survived was Pakistan Cricket Board, and it was because
Okay.
of the fact that imagine that ICC gives them millions of dollars. There might
Okay.
be a time period, and what they do is so they're not giving you millions
Right.
of dollars that, hey, you know what, this is just yours. So what you're supposed to do is that in all regions, in all areas, wherever you may probably go, they want to see cricket flourishing. So they're investing on the sport to make sure that the sport itself flourishes. And imagine that
Right.
even during COVID, what we have seen is that, when the COVID broke out, we
Okay.
saw that there was biosecure bubbles and the cricket was
Right,
still
right.
going on.
Right.
And imagine that now, earlier before COVID, cricket was being played in 5 continents only. Now it's being played in 6 continents already. And now a lot of cricketers are going to United States of America as well. They're looking forward to having their own team.
I always wonder that cricket is, such a, I feel that, lovely sports when it comes to Pakistan. We are so much invested into the cricket, especially our emotions and whatnot. Why is it not a national sports? I really don't get it in that sense. So I really wanted to
I
ask.
think that the reason behind might probably be because, as far as we go, I think that the credit for cricket actually goes to Britishers, and
I mean, they also invented the football, right?
They did, and the
And then they forgot
football
to
is
play
big,
the
and football is big, and football
Right.
is getting bigger over here in Pakistan as well.
Right.
We did share clips of when I
Right.
actually kind of got the opportunity to, unveil the FIFA trophy for the
Right.
very first time when
Right.
it came down to Pakistan. It even came down now. So, there are a lot of things which are taking place. FIFA actually built a real good facility in Lahore,
Oh,
where
that's
people
nice.
could go and play football as well. And a lot of people from Karachi and the north of Pakistan are really playing some wonderful football games as well. And we certainly want to see.
And I think our Liari, the football team, they also won some, match and tournament, right?
Yes, they
and
did.
especially
They did,
in
and
the
a lot
South
of
America.
children
Right.
and a lot of football players are actually going abroad for the camps and whatnot. So it's beautiful. I think what we need to do is that we just need to build facilities over here.
Okay.
Make sure that we have world-class coaches. Make sure that we have all of what is required to prepare and to nurture those players, because they have the talent, the skill is there. All we need is to give them that playing mindset that, hey, you know what, everything's going to be in place. Please make sure that you have your focus as well. But very quickly, now, ladies and gentlemen, I think we need to talk about
the news part of that, right? And I really wanted to ask Shahzad one more question. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Before you go, do you think when it comes to boxing, so obviously cricket is a more renowned sport in Pakistan. A lot of people are into it, and when I go to gym, I do feel that they hire special trainers, because I am a female and I go to obviously a gym, which is specifically for
Does it look like you're boxing?
Yeah, I feel from the fitness point of view, from the fitness regimes, they've hired, actually the trainers, who are training them for the boxing and stuff like that. Does it have a commercial value or not?
Obviously, it does have a lot of commercial value when we talk about boxing, but obviously today we were talking about mixed martial arts, so that's very different, that's very unique. But when we talk about boxing, imagine we do have a lot of good boxers over here. Usman Wazir happens to be one of them, and there was a very festive occasion which took place on the 10th of this month in Gilgit, and that was, so they actually had a boxing competition, and unfortunately, I never got to know whether Usman Wazir won or not, but PTV Sports was telecasting it live. The entire team went to Gilgit. It was all sponsored. Not just that, from Karachi, we have this wonderful guy, Nadir Baloch. He's one of the most amazing boxers, and I've seen them because I've been hosting their fights as well. Then we have FFPL over here in Pakistan. Pro Boxing League was here for the very first time, and that too, we had an Arabian Sea title on the line, which Usman Wazir won, by the way. I think that's something which we really need to share. And then Muhammad Wasim Saab, obviously a film was made on it. And when we talk about Muhammad Ali, when we talk about Mike Tyson, when we talk about Amir Khan, so there's so many names, and they've done a great job. They've contributed towards the field itself, and that's how they're working ahead of time. Imagine, so Amir Khan, what he does is that he makes sure that he's going to take trials of boys away in Pakistan, trains them, selects them.
I think that's very important to transfer your skills and to your training to the younger generation. That's how sports flourish, and that's how you make this field even more, more attractive to, the younger lot there.
Yeah, so you really need to box. But ladies and gentlemen, before we do that, we really need to head out towards a short break. When we come back, we obviously have another important day to observe. What is it about? We will tell you for sure. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Right, people. Hey, you guys are still here. Thank you very much for staying tuned to PT World, ladies and gentlemen. You're definitely watching World this morning. The name happens to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. And with me, I have the very amazing Miss Hajar Sati.
Thank you so
Earlier,
much.
before heading out towards a short break, we were actually talking about procrastination.
Right.
We did talk about how Pakistani cricketers are doing so wonderfully well. And we did talk about why the other sports didn't manage to flourish within the country.
Yes.
But now,
And I think Shahzad has a very thoughtful take on that, and I'm really glad that Shahzad, you have such a lively, sports memory, and I'm really glad. I wanted to learn a lot from you.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. I hope you remember that. And even if you do not, you can always ask me again and again, and I'll be happy to kind of share it with you
Thank
as
you
well.
so much. Jazakallah
But now I
khair.
think it's about time that we kind of talk about weather.
Right.
Because obviously,
right.
it's just
So-
getting so hot these days.
Exactly.
And then, God forbid, I mean, we really need to kind of be thankful to the UPS at our place because
Right.
that saves our
Well,
life.
I
during
sometimes
the
I
day.
do feel UPS fail tremendously, when it comes to beating this sort of heat, 45-degree outside, 46-degree outside. And, I was reading somewhere that, we South Asians bear the brunt of such a heat because of the mangoes, because mangoes are in this intense heat in that sense. And also, monsoon is coming, Shahzad,
Yeah.
right? So it's a little bit of respite, but the humidity that is present in the atmosphere, it's also a cherry on the top. I don't know
It's
what
a challenge these days.
Right.
Exactly, which is why we really want to share, how the weather is going to be in the next 4-5 days. Please go
Right.
ahead, take a look. I mean, you guys will come back. We will be listening to some songs. Let's do it. Good morning. Yeah. Come on. Come on.
Has predicted to receive above normal rainfall during the upcoming monsoon season. According to PMD's Monsoon 2022 Outlook report, while the monsoon season is likely to start from the last week of June, Punjab and Sindh are expected to receive a way above normal rainfall this season, while the remaining part of the country are likely to receive slightly above rainfall in the upcoming monsoon season. The first phase of monsoon, which lasts from the start of July till the mid of August, is expected to be wetter than the last phase, which lasts from the mid of August to the end of September. It must be noted here that the area weighted normal rainfall of the country during July, August and September is 140.8 millimeter, meaning that the total rainfall expected this year is likely to be above this figure. Pakistan Meteorological Department has warned that extreme hydrometeorological events over catchments area are expected, which may lead to the flood in major rivers. Heavy rainfall events may lead to the flash floods in the hilly areas and urban flood in plain areas, while a significant supply of water for the irrigation and power sector will be available. Pakistan Meteorological
And that's exactly something I've been praying for. One day, seriously, this is something which I was talking to about with my elder brother as well, who's here from the UK, because the maximum temperature you're going to get in the UK is 19 these days, and
Right.
the lowest is 9.
Right.
I was like, yeah, it feels so good.
Right.
But over here at the same time, I was saying that, hey, how good it's going to be that, we sleep at night and it rains, or Rahmat wali barish ho, and then, early in the morning and going towards work,
Right.
Islamabad all cleaned and washed up,
Right.
and, it's a little cloudy. I mean, I think
But-
I'm
but,
just,
uh,
I
you
just
know-
want that weather.
Right, but at the darker side of this, especially there have been urban flooding warnings also. You remember that there was this flooding, in
E11.
D12, and there was a flash flood, and I think 2 people died of that.
Yeah.
I think that this is something very concerning, especially when it comes to climate change, because the IPCC also said this in their report that there are going to be a larger amount of monsoon season extending over the time of the period, especially in South Asia.
And when we talk about such an urban flooding, which we are referring to as an E11 or D12, it was because of the mistake of the people. They built their houses over
right.
the canals, which were supposed to take away
Right.
the water as well. So imagine. So please make sure, everybody, that you kind of look after what you're doing,
Right.
and please make sure that you do not exceed your limits. And yes,
And of
obviously,
course,
we're not.
climate change is not only the responsibility of the government. It
True.
also comes down to us, the humans. The people, the citizens who are. We need to be more socially responsible, and we need to reduce a carbon footprint, which is actually contributing towards the global warming and the heating of the planet.
True, that's
And-
wonderful. Which is why now, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time that we listen to some good music, some
Right.
good songs, and some amazing vocals. Because this amazing lady who happens to be over here in the studios with us is trying to introduce a new genre over here in the country. And I don't know whether I've heard it before or not, But let's see what she has to say about her own music and why she chose to be a singer in the first place. We're lucky that we've been joined by Miss Nadia Amjad. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, how are you?
I'm doing great, Shahzad. How are you doing?
Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you over here.
Wonderful to have you guys as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
so
much.
much.
So, while I was reading and studying about you, I was like, hey, you know what? So somebody wants to introduce a new genre. And every time when I think about rapping or doing something different, I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's just introduce something new. So why do you think there was a need for you to think this way? And then what sort of a genre will you introduce? And do you think that we might have heard it before?
Okay, first of all, the post-rock is something that is related to mellow,
Yep.
right? You might have heard about Lana Del Rey, Cigarette After Sex. People consider that sort of a genre in the pop.
Yep.
So, when I've traveled to Turkey and also I've listened to this post-rock.
Okay.
And you might know about the Still Corners as well. That is more of the vintage. Basically, I am more inclined to the vintage songs.
All right.
And the post-rock is something that's not a typical rock, right? People don't know actually. People actually confuse the rock, the rock genre with the post-rock. That is more of the vintage side on the old tracks. So I want to introduce this music that is more of the instruments, and you have a little slightly vocals in it, right? So you can
Exactly.
feel all of the organic instruments over there as well.
Exactly.
So
And
yeah.
Thank you very much for saying that, because you said that organic instruments, and this is something which I miss these days as well. Because
Exactly.
now when we talk about Abdullah Hanan, obviously he was trending on Spotify just
Exactly.
yesterday.
He has the
And
mellow voice as
yes,
well, right?
exactly. And he
Very
came
good.
up with a beautiful song. Let's talk about Hassan Rahim. Let's talk about Talal Qureshi.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all of a sudden, because earlier when I used to go and host music concerts and sing myself, what I would see was, people who I was introducing was Atif Aslam,
Okay.
Sahir Ali Bagga.
The big names.
Yeah, big name,
Right.
Junaid, for example.
Right.
So for all of those people, or probably Ali Azmat, and they
Okay.
used to come and sing. Now all of a sudden, so I'm there hosting, but the musicians are different, and it's just only one singer on the stage. So there's not a bandwagon of musicians at the back as well playing live music. So it's just one DJ mixer, one DJ, and there's this one gentleman who's singing as well. And the entire sphere of the music industry has changed as of now. Because imagine, so Hassan Rahim and Talal Qureshi song was taken by Miss Marvel as well. And not just that, when we
Indeed.
talk about Shay Gill, her music was even featured in Miss Marvel once again.
That's nice.
So the music is changing, and I think that you really did make sense where, talking about having organic instruments at the back, that's beautiful.
Exactly.
And everybody wants to listen to them. And
More
there's
connected
so
to
much
nature
effort
as
and
well.
hard work
Yeah.
which goes into producing such music.
Yeah,
But
indeed.
when you know that people are actually producing all the music on their computers and laptops on different softwares, why would you still want to be organic?
See, there are some artists who are more connected to the nature and all. So, again, I'll say like I'm an old school,
Okay.
right? So I want to just keep myself connected to the old timers and all. And the mellow sort of a music, like it connects you to the old times, right? That was more pure. The pure music was, still it's going really great till now.
Yeah.
But, the old times and all, it was like more mellow, the purity over there. So I just want to keep that aura in this era
I think,
that we are
you
going
singing
through,
is meditation for you
meditation
as well.
and pretty soothing, I tell you. The post-rock is all about, it's soothing, it's a meditation, it's a therapy itself, I tell you.
Relax.
So yeah, it's like
that's
that.
about it, and it's beautiful. And what
Yeah.
what do you expect from your music? Because later in the month you will be recording your songs as well. Obviously
originals are
everybody,
coming.
everybody
Yeah.
will be looking forward to it. Your family, your support system. And before you answer this, what kind of music did you grew up listening to? While your parents were driving around, what was the
Oh,
kind of music you were listening to?
I tell you one thing, I think I've listened to the various genres in my childhood. Like, it was ABBA, Elvis Presley. Like, if I tell you about the artist, right? It was ABBA, Elvis Presley, Bee Gees, the Beatles.
Yeah.
My parents, they always used to listen to these songs. And the genre, I tell you, what I always hated, like, it was like rock. I never liked it. I
Yeah.
never liked it. It was very noisy to me. But I have listened to the goth music as well. The
Yeah,
goth
Marilyn
rock.
Yeah.
Evanescence, you might know about that. And soft pop. I was into that side as well.
So
yeah,
did you ever get to hear Metallica, Led Zeppelin, all
Led
of these
Zeppelin,
things as
yes.
well?
I still listen to
Headbanging.
Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven, it's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Right. So, a lot of music lovers, they're not musicologists. So,
Yeah.
they do not have a profound knowledge of the semantics of the music and stuff. And you also said that, when you were growing up, you were listening to different sort
genres.
of
Exactly.
And you got inspiration from different. So
Yeah.
while you're going to record your songs for them, so what are the predominant themes, that we are going to find in your
Is it love? Is it relationships? Is it hate?
nature or something else?
Yeah, I think you're going to what I'm going for the music in my genre. Like, of course, not my genre, but yes, the post rock. It is more connected to the nature. Like, listen to the different sounds of trees and waterfall and
Wow. So it's
that's
just
sort of a
refreshing,
therapy,
soothing.
refreshing as well, and a bit of the that Lana Del Rey sort of a very soothing sort of a voice over there, and that's something that you're going a therapy. What sort of a message I'm going to? It's about love.
Really?
Yeah.
Every time you're
Yeah.
going to sing about something, it's going to be love.
Yeah.
And so when you sit down to write lyrics, where do you draw your inspiration from? Because
I haven't wrote the lyrics right now. I haven't
Okay.
written the lyrics right now.
do you
but
ever
yeah,
feel
I've
like
gone for
yaar
the
badi
melodies.
achhi line aayi hai dimag mein?
I'll tell you one thing. It's always that word vachan that comes in an artist mind na कि वो रात के 2 बजे या 3 बजे भी कोई creativity आती
Yeah,
है
yeah,
out of
yeah, yeah.
nowhere
Right,
and you have to record it
True.
and when you're getting up और वो भूल जाता है
True,
so
true.
it's like that वो melody कहाँ से आती है you don't know
True.
that something comes naturally.
Which is why, I have a solution to that as well, and I'm going to share it with our audiences out there. So imagine what happens is, for a longer period of time, whenever I used to get this Ahmed, I was
Yeah,
like, okay,
Ahmed,
I'm going to write
exactly.
it in the morning.
Okay.
So every time I would wake up in the morning, I was like, yeah, what was it?
That comes for,
So you couldn't
just
remember it. So what I've
milliseconds,
done is,
right.
this is very handy as well. So I have notes. So I
Okay, you
open up my
write it
notes
down.
there and I start to write down. And there are a lot of writings which I have with myself, so we share it
That's
when
nice,
our
that's
friends
nice.
sit down. We're like, okay, do you think that we
Yeah.
should record it or not? So it's great.
Yeah.
But now let's very quickly, kind of put you under the spotlight. Would you mind singing a few lines from one of your favorite songs for our audiences out there?
Okay, sure. Should I think I should
Just 2
Right.
lines, 3 lines.
I Don't Wanna Fall in Love with You by Wicked Games.
All right, thank
Okay.
you, thank you.
And that is covered by London Grammar.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And now it's being covered by Miss Nadia too as well. Let's go.
The world was on fire, no one could save me but you. It's strange what desire is, what foolish people do. And I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. And I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. And no, I don't wanna fall in love
Wow, yeah,
that's
with you.
Great. Wow,
Wow,
that was
that's
just
nice.
fantastic, amazing, superb, and you certainly have got the vocals
Right.
where you can cast your spell on any audience.
That's
Given you may be in Pakistan, you may be in the
Right.
West, you may be in the Northeast, or wherever you may probably be. You've been gifted by this talent, which you're polishing every
Thank you
single
so much.
day.
It means a lot.
And there are a lot of bigger events which are going to come in your life as
For
well. And this
sure.
is something which I feel as of now, after listening to you as well, even though that I have seen you performing on stage too, and you're phenomenal, you are great. Which is why I'm going to come down to this point. Now imagine when we talk about girls being in the music industry. So let's go back in time where when I was growing up, I heard Annie. I think Annie was one of the singers we grew up listening to as well. Then obviously Kuratullah and Baloch came and conquered.
Amazing.
And
Both
then now
are
we have
amazing.
Aima Beg, she
Right.
came and she conquered
And
as
Momina
well.
Mustahsin
Yeah.
became a phenomenon itself.
Momina
right?
Mustahsin, yes, obviously, her recorded songs are great, but she does
Yeah.
not do any live performances. I don't
Right.
know. I mean, it's her own choice as well.
course,
But when we go on to the other category of legends, we do have Miss Abida Parveen Saiba as well,
course,
and
of
this wonderful lady who sang the PSL song, Nasibo Lal Saiba ji as well.
Right.
And so imagine that there are not a lot of women when we talk about girls within the music industry, and for an aspiring and budding talent as you, I think you've got the world to yourself, inshallah. So in days to come, how do you plan to do it? Because over in Pakistan, you will get promoters who will be like, यार तुम्हारा म्यूजिक बहुत कमर्शियल नहीं है, बहुत लोग नहीं सुनते, so it will be very. So how do you think you will counter that?
First of all, before I come towards that thing you were talking about, the females, and I want to mention it by myself. I think in the today's where how difficult it is for the female
True.
to be in the industry,
It's
so
not really
I think
difficult.
my mother, like, she's an artist, So I
Really?
think it's all of
What
her
does she do?
support. She is in the fine arts, like she's in the visual arts. So
Mashallah.
yeah, it's like that. So I think because of her support today, I'm here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
So you know the family support is really important.
True.
And the second thing is this: that why I'm how I'll be managing it, because you know you need to see the public as well.
True.
I'm the person that I just cannot, like, I tried doing that thing. Urdu mein, like, what I can do, that I can be really good on the Momna Mustasan, or like say the Nazia Hassan is my inspiration
Yes.
as well, so I can do that.
Can we
she's
do that a
legend.
little bit?
Of course. we
Nazi
can do
Hassan,
that.
yes, come on,
Yeah.
bring it on, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. दिल की लगी कुछ और भी दिल को दीवाना करे, दिल की लगी कुछ और भी दिल को दीवाना करे, मेरी इल्तिजा है, खुदा से दुआ है, दो दिल जुदा ना करे, हो दिल की लगी कुछ और भी दिल को दीवाना करे.
Wow, that was
That
fantastic,
was lovely.
scintillating and superb at the same time, which is why I just got a brilliant idea. I think we're actually going to request Hajra to sing us a song too as well.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. I can't do that.
Why
I'm not
not?
a singer.
Why not?
No, I'm not
Just,
a singer.
okay,
No.
which is your favorite song? You know, say that.
Okay,
Talk.
so I'm honestly, I don't listen to that much.
When
of
you
a
drive
song.
to work, you know, what songs are you listening to?
I'm not listening to songs. I'm usually listening to the podcast right now.
But I have a feeling you have good vocals. I mean, I have a feeling.
See,
the way you
No.
sing
see,
and all
okay,
that,
let's
that
give
you
it a
she
Dil
can
Dil
do that.
Pakistan. You know, let's do Dil Dil Pakistan.
Okay.
I'll support you. Come on.
Please, okay, why don't you sing yourself?
Okay, I'm sorry. I was just pulling your leg as well. I was just pulling your leg, ladies and gentlemen, and you know, just to bring out a smile on your faces and on my face as well. But obviously, we have a pro over here in the studios with us. So, you know, when
course.
can people expect your music to be out? You know, now we have so many platforms: YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud. You know, there's so many things. So, how and when do you think we will be able
And
to
you know,
listen to your
also
music?
Shahzad, one thing is important. Like you were singing Nazia Hassan, right? And her songs are so much alive. You know, especially now that she's not here in
She's
this
a
world.
legend, of course.
Yes.
Yes, yes, and especially songs which were produced in 60s and 70s. You know, they had such a sweet memory to it that we still listen to that.
Do you know
that?
that these songs were actually produced back in England?
Really?
Yes, she actually had to go to England. She recorded her music over
Okay,
there
you're
and then came back.
specifically talking about Nazia Hassan.
Yeah.
Of course. And also, the songs which are coming up from across the border and stuff like that. But now, that there's the songs which are coming. There's such, high pitch, high tune songs, and there's so much loud music.
And she
lot of
just
mixing,
mentioned,
right?
just mentioned that she always listens to podcasts. So when did she get the chance to kind of?
It's not that
to
when I
figure
go
out
to weddings,
that
I
they are high pitch.
put
Yes,
some cotton in
okay.
my ears
Gotcha,
and stuff like that.
Gotcha. But please
Right.
complete, yeah.
Yes. So and I do feel that the commercialization, the pouring of lot of money
Exactly.
into
True.
the
You're right.
music industry
Exactly,
has altered
mixing and
the yes. So do you think so what is the genre? The post rock. Post rock is going to gain some traction in our audience. In the
It is
All
already
over.
in an attraction.
especially when talking about Pakistan, right?
Yes, because इससे जो resonating है, ठीक है, genres वो introduce हुए हैं पाकिस्तान में. I will name few artists. There's artist the name of Marshall. She has introduced. She has played a song that is resonating
With this
post rock,
post-rock.
right? And people are loving it like anything.
Exactly.
You see, like Hassan Rahim,
Yeah.
right? He has that mellow voice.
Yeah.
But still it's going up, right? But I am going on the more organic side.
With
that
instruments and
there are
all.
instruments and all. Lots of
Nature.
instruments are gonna be introduced in that, with a very pretty less vocals.
So I can
that
give
they
a
can get a
description
chance.
from my perspective.
Yeah.
For anybody who's actually expecting what
But
kind of
it's a
music is going to
post-rock.
come out. So
Yeah,
imagine,
yeah.
It's
It's
6
like
p.m.
harmony.
in the evening.
Okay.
Harmony
You want to
sorts.
go out for a drive.
Yeah.
So what you do is that you're in a very chill zone and a chill mood as well. So you
Okay.
sit down, you're driving. There's
Yeah.
it's not rushy out there. And
Right.
there's this music which is turned on, and then you just have to sing with it.
Soothing,
And you sing your
relaxing,
heart out and you
exactly.
relax.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, you know
Right.
what? I'm living a great life. Thank
Yeah.
you, Allah, for giving me everything. Stuff like that. So it's great.
It's much needed nowadays, the times we
Exactly.
are going through, right?
And now
After the
imagine
pandemic and all.
that we have seen this
We need
shift
that.
from techno and trance to coming down to organic music or probably very mellow. The way
Exactly.
the music is coming out, it
Yeah.
actually relieves you of all the stresses.
We
And
need
then,
it
yeah,
nowadays,
this is what I want to
exactly.
listen to.
From my childhood, like I have listened to the Green Day, Avril Lavigne, Linkin Park, and there are like stages in your life, phases in your life. You change day by day.
True.
And I think what I found truly in myself, like this is my genre. From like 3-4 years, from like 3 years, I've been listening to this genre, or इससे मेरा mood नहीं change हुआ, like मेरा taste नहीं change हुआ.
Yep.
So I think I decided because I think sometimes we get that into that maturity or something. We and the times we have gone through, the lockdown and all. So the fast pace went to do the slow pace. So yeah,
Yep.
it's like that.
I know 20% luck, 15% skill. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of music everybody's been listening to. But thank you very much, Nadia, for being
Yeah.
with us.
Jazakallah.
It was wonderful to be in conversation with you.
Thank you so much, yeah.
You've been blessed with a lot of talent. You're working hard
Right,
towards
right.
it. You're polishing it every single
Right.
day. This is a platform which will always welcome you whenever you have to release a song, whatever you want. You're more than
Inshallah.
welcome. We want to
Tour
wish you
results
best
are
of luck.
coming soon.
Yes,
Good
obviously.
luck.
And to your parents, thank you very much because you've given her the opportunity to do what she wanted to do in her life. And
Right.
she's going to do everything fantastically well as well. So don't worry, she's got the talent, she will do it. So best of luck for
Thank
your
you
future
so
endeavors
much.
as
Means
well.
Best of luck. Best of luck.
Thank you.
for
And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, if you have an inner calling, please make sure that you pick up the call.
Right. Okay, so we are concluding on this thought that we will strive to bring more topics, more topics which resonate with the current environment, with the global environment, with the social issues, and with this, until next time, we're saying goodbye. So you please strive to give us the feedback because it will always feel good to have your participation.
Exactly. And to do so, ladies and gentlemen, please write to us on our Facebook page, which is with the name of
Well, this morning.
on Twitter,
Well, this
on
morning.
Daily Motion in YouTube.
Well, this
And the
morning.
fabulous repeat is going to be at 5 past 10. Till the next time, look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Have a great day. Thank you.